There's a diner in Milwaukee called the Bomber Restaurant and Lounge. And it's been there as long as we've been there, as long as we've been in Oregon. And so this is I don't know, a couple of pages about that story. I don't know how to set it up any more than just reading it. So it's called Our Bomber. It's Thursday, it's early. I'm thinking about a Denver omelet at the Milwaukee Bomber. I'm thinking about why they called this omelet Denver and how this place Milwaukee got spelled different from Milwaukee. That gray city on Lake Michigan's gray shore where Milwaukee Indian families once lived and loved. So I ask my waitress. I don't know, she says, pulling her blue bic from under a red rubber band around her wrist. It's just Milwaukee. It's always been Milwaukee. She makes a double chin. She raises her order pad. And Denver, I ask, why do they call it Denver, my omelet? She blinks at me hard. She lowers her little pad. Well, why do they call it Hawaiian pizza? Why do they call it French toast? I appreciate her humor. I am obliged by her patience. Do you know what she wants, she says, and it's not a question, and this startles me, bad. I get confused. I am conflicted. I know she's being considerate, even kind, because there's hungry working guys wanting their turn, knowing exactly what they want, and there's orders rear-ending on her counter, all waiting for me to move along. The thing is, I want so much. I need so much from America, but then I get it. She means from her menu. What do you want to eat? Denver omelet sirachkan, if you please. I answer quick, writing myself. It's called a bomlet on the Bomber restaurant menu, but I could not make myself say it. She nods, she smiles, she leaves. She has work to do. She works hard. The Bomber, if you haven't been here, is an American cafe built just behind a Boeing B-17G Flying Fortress. Back here you'll also find an RV park and a locksmith shop. There's a used car dealer across the way. Radio Shack and Baskin-Robbins 31 flavors are nearby. A Flying Fortress, if you haven't been under one, is a riveted plate steel turbo piston powered U.S. Army Air Force bomber built to bust Nazi Germany's industrial rumble. 12,750 were produced during the Second World War. Each had a crew of 10 boys or men. About a third were shot down. 2 or 3 B-17s are still flying today. The most famous, the Memphis Belle, starred in a 1990 blockbuster along with Matthew Modine. This one, Milwaukee's Flying Fortress, is named Lacey Lady after Milwaukee legend Arthur Lacey. Mr. Lacey has passed away, but his big bomber is still up on the sturdy steel pillars he planted to hold her high. Mr. Lacey bought her from an Oklahoma air base in 1947. He wanted to set her over his gas station on the side of old State Highway 99, Oregon's major asphalt artery before the feds laid I-5 between California and Washington. Art Lacey actually piloted this lumbering fortress across the continent unlicensed, ducking under storm clouds, following train tracks, swooping down low enough to read road signs for directions. He landed his lucky lady in Troutdale and trucked her here late night, also unauthorized. Milwaukee cops caught him and slapped him with a $10 oversized low ticket. I cannot tell you why I come here, why I need to sit under Lacey Lady's wide wings, but I know for sure I park here every 10 years or so. I've watched her age. She's lost a little polish, but not her pull. We first drove under that bomber soon after our family arrived in America. It was those unsettled 1960s. Back then she loomed over acres and acres of fragrant Willamette Valley strawberries. Our Presbyterian sponsors took us there. You could see her silver fuselage shimmering in summer's wavy distance. Handsome Mr. Lander's family sat across her front bench seat, our family packed in back of his big, broad 1959 Plymouth Fury. America's air defense had just gone supersonic, and so too Detroit, at least in design concept. Mr. Lander's Fury had an aerodynamic look, flush intakes, a swept windshield, long angular tail fins. The FJ-4 Fury, U.S. Navy's tactical fighter, had all that too. We went on a sunny Sunday afternoon. Mr. Lacey's Flying Fortress wings covered his Texaco station back then. Mr. Landers pulled his big Plymouth up to the pumps. He idled us under her mighty shadow. He got out. Let's have a look, Mr. Landers smiled at our back seat window. I was between Big Brother's legs. I leaned to look at him. He turned to look at Ma, and she was looking out her window at that bomber's bulging underside. Mr. Landers wrapped his wedding band out our window. Tack, 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 come on out. I looked at Big Brother, he looked at me, both of us looked at Ma. Her eyes were still stuck upturned out her side of Mr. Landers' Fury. Mr. Landers snaked his thick wrist through his front window, around his plaid seat back to our rear door lock and popped it open. Wide went our door. Come on out, let's have a look. He would have said, he could have said, I cannot say. My ears were roaring like airplane engines, my eyes spinning like propellers. I went into what we used to call a little drift. I went there a lot back then. Probably an epileptic spell, petite mal, as Dr. Zito says nowadays. Just a little drift away, we used to say back then, back before coming to America. A little trip away from really bad things. And this was not a good idea. Not back there, not back where you shouldn't go to dreamland when things got ugly, when people got dead. Many of them for good reasons, like for running in a panic, running right into gunfire. Many more for no reasons, like running to the exact place and precise moment, one of those anonymous black bombs from angry men no one can name heaves our precious red earth and everything living and everyone loving straight up to heaven. But many, many more of us perish, Poppy told us stern, for not paying attention, for not having eyes open, ears alert, intuition wide. When you're afraid, you have to be a razor, not a pause, he said. Always said, a razor, not a pause. Always a razor, never a pause. A razor. Still, I went adrift to dreamland that summer, our first in America, under Art Lacey's bomber. Enough.